Have you ever found yourself indefinitely postponing the organization of that junk room? That room that started with a few items and suddenly transformed into a veritable repository of forgotten objects, dusty boxes, and memories you promised to sort one day. It might seem harmless to have a corner of the house dedicated to disorder, a refuge for everything you don't know where to store. But the truth is that this apparent tranquility hides very real and serious dangers that can affect your home, your health, and even your peace of mind. What many don't realize is that junk room syndrome goes far beyond a simple lack of organization. It represents a series of silent risks that accumulate with each piled-up object, from invisible threats that can compromise your family's safety to the direct impact on your daily well-being. Every item left aside in your junk room could be contributing to larger problems. Prepare to discover the 7 real dangers hidden in this cluttered space, and why it's crucial to act before the mess becomes an uncontrollable problem. You'll be surprised by what a disorganized room can truly cause. Chapter 1: Fire Hazard. The accumulation of objects in a messy room creates a favorable scenario for fire risk, a danger often underestimated. Flammable materials such as old papers, fabrics, cardboard boxes, and chemical cleaning products can be piled up without proper ventilation. All it takes is a spark from worn electrical wiring, a poorly extinguished cigarette, or even an overheating forgotten electronic device for tragedy to begin. The density of objects accelerates the spread of flames. The ease with which a fire can spread in a junk room is frightening. The lack of space and the proximity between flammable materials create a continuous path for the fire. Imagine boxes of old documents next to piles of old clothes. Any ignition point quickly transforms into a large blaze. Inadequate ventilation in the room, often muffled by the objects themselves, prevents heat dissipation, increasing the risk. Many people store objects they haven't used in years, forgetting their flammable nature. Paints, solvents, aerosol sprays, and even old batteries can become dangerous fuels. These items, if stored incorrectly and without due attention, can explode or release flammable gases, turning a small incident into a catastrophic emergency. The ideal is to dispose of these materials safely. Disorganization makes it difficult to identify and remove potential sources of ignition. An overloaded outlet, a frayed wire, or a dusty old appliance can go unnoticed amidst the clutter. The lack of regular inspection, prevented by the accumulation of things, exponentially increases the risk of a short circuit that can start a fire. Prevention requires visibility and access. In case of an incipient fire, the cluttered room becomes a trap. Quick access to a fire extinguisher or the possibility of containing the fire in its initial stage is made impossible by the barrier of objects. Furthermore, smoke and flames spread more rapidly in an environment with many items, hindering evacuation and the safety of people in the house. Maintaining order is essential for your safety. Chapter 2: Pest Attraction. A junk room is a paradise for various urban pests, which find the perfect environment there to proliferate. Insects like cockroaches, moths, and spiders, as well as rodents like mice and rats, are attracted by the darkness, shelter, and abundance of hiding places that clutter offers. These unwanted visitors can quickly turn a small problem into a widespread infestation throughout your home. The lack of movement and the presence of materials like cardboard, fabrics, and would create ideal nests for these animals. Dusty boxes serve as perfect dwellings for rodents, while piles of forgotten clothes become homes for moths and cockroaches. The absence of light and minimal disturbance allow these pests to establish and reproduce undetected for long periods. In addition to being a nuisance, many of these pests are carriers of diseases and bacteria. Rats and mice, for example, can transmit hantavirus and leptospirosis through their feces and urine, contaminating surfaces and food. Cockroaches are known to carry various pathogens, causing allergies and asthma. Contact with these animals or their waste represents a serious risk to your family's health. The presence of pests in the junk room can easily spread to other areas of the house. Once established, they begin to explore in search of food and new shelters, invading the kitchen, bedrooms, and even social areas. What started as an isolated problem in the pantry can become a headache in every room, requiring much more complex pest control measures. Identifying and eliminating these pests becomes extremely difficult in a disorganized environment. Abundant hiding places allow them to hide efficiently, escaping traps and inspections. To combat an infestation, it's often necessary to remove all the clutter, which can be an arduous and unpleasant task, but essential to regain control of the environment and ensure home hygiene. Chapter 3: Difficulty of access in case of emergency. One of the most serious dangers of maintaining a cluttered room is the difficulty of access in emergency situations. Imagine a sudden water leak, an electrical problem causing an incipient fire, or the need to quickly turn off the gas. Navigating a maze of boxes, furniture, and accumulated objects can consume precious time, with potentially disastrous consequences. Every second counts in critical moments. In case of a leak, for example, quick access to the problem point to close a valve or identify the water source is crucial to minimize damage. A path obstructed by clutter can delay this intervention, allowing water to spread and cause significant damage to floors, walls, and other rooms in the house. Lost time can mean a considerable increase in material losses. Electrical problems represent another risk scenario where difficulty of access can be fatal. Locating a breaker box amidst the clutter to interrupt power supply in case of a short circuit or overheating is fundamental to prevent fires and electric shocks. Delays in this action can endanger residents' lives and worsen the situation. Medical emergency situations can also be complicated by an inaccessible room. If a family member needs immediate help and is trapped or has difficulty moving in a space full of obstacles, the response time to provide aid can be drastically affected. A clear passage is essential to ensure everyone's safety and well-being. Furthermore, in case of the need for rapid evacuation of the residents due to a fire or other danger, a junk room can become a dangerous bottleneck. Tripping over objects, having the path obstructed by piles of things, and difficulty orienting oneself amidst the clutter can prevent a quick and safe exit. Keeping spaces clear is a vital safety measure for the entire family. Chapter 4: Creation of Mold and Mildew. One of the silent and most insidious dangers of having a cluttered room is the creation of mold and mildew. The lack of adequate ventilation, combined with the humidity that can accumulate in enclosed environments, offers perfect conditions for the growth of these unwanted fungi. Hidden under piles of objects, in cardboard boxes, or in fabrics, mold and mildew can spread without you noticing. Obstruction of air circulation is a key factor for the development of these microorganisms. When a room is crammed with things, the walls, floor, and even the objects themselves cannot breathe. This air stagnation raises humidity levels and creates perfect microclimates for the proliferation of fungi, which feed on organic materials like paper, wood, fabric, and accumulated dust. Mold and mildew are not just an aesthetic problem. They represent a serious health risk. Inhaling mold spores can trigger or worsen respiratory problems like asthma, allergic rhinitis, and bronchitis. People with compromised immune systems are even more vulnerable to fungal infections. Symptoms like persistent cough, eye irritation, and skin irritation are warning signs. In addition to health problems, mold and mildew can cause irreversible damage to your belongings and the structure of the house. Books, documents, clothes, and furniture can become stained and have a strong, unpleasant odor, often impossible to remove. In extreme cases, humidity and fungi can compromise the integrity of walls and floors, requiring expensive and complex repairs. Identifying mold and mildew in a messy room is challenging due to the lack of visibility. They can grow hidden behind boxes, under piles of clothes, or in forgotten corners. The only way to effectively combat them is to clear and clean the space, ensuring constant ventilation, and, if necessary, using dehumidifiers to control humidity. Organization is your greatest ally against these silent invaders. Chapter 5: Risk of Trips and Falls. One of the most immediate and visible dangers of a junk room is the risk of trips and falls. With objects scattered on the floor, precariously stacked boxes, and obstructed paths, the simple act of entering the room to grab something can turn into a dangerous challenge. Clutter creates a labyrinth of invisible obstacles, especially when lighting is poor. The chance of tripping over an object and falling is considerably high, not only for adults, but also for children and the elderly, who are even more vulnerable to serious injuries. A forgotten toy, a loose wire, a pile of books, or misplaced shoes can cause fractures, sprains, bruises, or even head trauma. With each step, the risk increases. Difficulty moving safely in the environment also impacts efficiency. That quick search for a specific item can become a real expedition, requiring extra care with each movement. This not only frustrates, but also increases the likelihood of accidents, as attention is divided between finding what you're looking for and avoiding obstacles. Even with maximum caution, the instability of piles of objects represents a constant danger. Collapsing boxes, items rolling off overloaded shelves, or objects that simply don't have a fixed place can fall on whoever is trying to access something. The weight and nature of the items can cause anything from minor scrapes to more serious injuries. Safety is severely compromised in a disorganized room. In an emergency, such as a nighttime fire where visibility is limited, the presence of obstacles can prevent a quick and safe exit. Keeping paths clear and objects stored in their proper places is not just a matter of organization, but a fundamental measure to ensure the safety of everyone who moves around the house. Chapter 6: Stress and Anxiety Caused by Visual Disorder. The visual clutter of a junk room goes far beyond an aesthetic problem. It is a significant source of stress and anxiety. Living in a disorganized environment, even if it's just one room, can overload the mind and cause a constant feeling of discomfort. With every glance at that cluttered space, the list of pending tasks and the perception of lack of control intensify. The constant sight of mess activates a feeling of information overload in the brain. The excess of objects and the absence of order make it difficult to focus and concentrate, even in other areas of life. This visual disorganization can lead to mental fatigue, as the brain is always trying to process the overwhelming amount of stimuli, resulting in exhaustion and irritability. Disorder also generates a feeling of guilt and shame. Many feel ashamed of having a junk room and avoid letting visitors see it, which can lead to social isolation or decreased spontaneity in hosting friends and family. This constant self-criticism and concern about others' judgment contribute to a vicious cycle of stress and procrastination. The feeling of not having space for anything or having duplicate items because you can't find what you already own is another stress factor. The difficulty in locating necessary objects and the time lost searching for them increase daily frustration. This inefficiency generated by disorganization consumes mental energy that could be used for more productive and pleasurable activities. Ultimately, visual clutter prevents the creation of a calm and welcoming home sanctuary. Your home, which should be a sanctuary for relaxation and recharging, becomes a constant reminder of unfinished tasks and chaos. Restoring order in this space is not just about tidying things up, but about restoring mental peace and emotional well-being, transforming the environment into a place of calm and serenity. Chapter 7: Loss of Useful Space. One of the most regrettable and often overlooked dangers of junk room syndrome is the loss of valuable and useful space that could be transformed into something enjoyable. That room that became a repository for forgotten objects has enormous potential to be a refuge, a functional environment, or a place to develop hobbies, but it ends up being suffocated by disorganization and excess things. Think of the countless possibilities an extra room can offer. It could be a quiet home office away from distractions, or perhaps a cozy reading nook with a comfortable armchair and good lighting. For those who like to create, it could become an art studio, a craft space, or a place to practice a musical instrument without disturbing anyone. This space could also be converted into a private gym, equipped with some basic exercise equipment, allowing you to work out in the comfort of your home without the need for commutes or gym memberships. Or perhaps a guest room ready to welcome friends and family, providing comfort and privacy when they visit. The loss of this useful space is not only physical, but also impacts mental well-being. Having a dedicated place for activities you love or that are important to your routine can bring more joy, productivity, and relaxation to your daily life. Clutter, on the contrary, steals this opportunity, keeping you in a cycle of frustration and stagnation. Repurposing the junk room is an investment in your quality of life. Beginning to clear and reorganize, it is the first step to reclaiming this environment and transforming it into something that truly adds value to your home and your life. Imagine the pleasure of having a space dedicated to your passions, contributing to a more fulfilling and organized life. Conclusion. As we've seen, junk room syndrome is much more than a simple organization problem. It hides real and serious dangers, ranging from threats to your home's safety, such as fire risks and pest problems, to direct impacts on your health and well-being, such as the emergence of mold, increased stress, and the loss of valuable space. Each item accumulated in this room is a small brick that builds a barrier to your safety, health, and peace of mind. Acting now is not just about tidying up, it's about protecting and improving your quality of life. Don't wait for dangers to become a reality to start acting. Freeing your junk room is a fundamental step to transforming your house into a safer, healthier, and happier home. Start small, one step at a time, and you'll see the difference organization can make. If this video helped you see the risks and motivated you to act, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more valuable tips on home organization and well-being. Your support is very important to us.